No,
From our,
No, see, that's what she said.
no,
I mean,
I understand that there's
five.
capacity.
I think it's five because we're eight right now, so four would be five.
And I said,
So
there's some
Yeah.
topic of capacity that I need to find out about. And I said, you know, part of it might be that even though it's a luxury problem, the city has a ton of grants. And there's a lot to manage,
Exactly.
and there's only so many people that
That's
are
right.
elected and paid. And, you know, the rest, so us volunteers can go like rah, 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 get a grant, and then somebody's gotta do it. But there might be somebody who's interested in managing that thing, perhaps. Oh,
Voluntary.
Managing the grant.
well,
Grant.
I'll let Josh talk to you
Right.
about it, because
No. All right, folks, here we go.
Okay.
6:01. Do we have anyone else on the CAC online there? No.
told me she was coming.
Yeah, we'll give Vanessa said she was gonna dial in and, Fred said, we'll give them 2 more minutes.
Then we'll lock the door and count them tardy.
Who is on? We got a roll call, who is on there? Who's the first? I can't. Who is it?
Brady Probst, Jen Model Cutler, Linda Fenoff, Madison Cabbage Stalk, and Rita
Did you say Addison Cabbage Stalk?
Madison Cabbage Stalk.
All right, well,
Right?
Brian Wallace.
No, he won't be.
All right, well, you know what, let's just start. Here we go, stick with the buttering bubble. False order. I don't think I guess a second. Yeah, right. Okay, here we go. Starting 6:02. Did everyone see the minutes from March and April that was passed out? Any questions, comments? No amendments? Everything's good?
I just have a quick question, not as or comment, is there a plan on filling that? I guess there's an extra post or an extra,
Oh, we do have an extra seat, yes.
is there a desire to fill the extra seats?
Well, it can come from anyone.
Can it come from anyone?
Yeah,
Okay, great.
I mean, I think we should just keep our, well, you know what, hold on to that.
Okay.
Because when I get down to the birthday tabling, I wanted to ask that if there was anyone that was interested with birthday tabling.
Okay.
That we might have had anyone.
Oh,
Hi, welcome.
my, Lord, there's an adorable puppy.
Okay, so move to accept March and April minutes. Move. All right, yes, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Yay. All right, minutes have been accepted. Thank you very much, Linda, for all of your time on doing that. Okay, so first thing, following up on the Ryan Wallace presentation that was a couple of months ago. I followed up with Ryan via email and he was looking for not only contacts, but as well as quotes. Additional quotes for the project. So do we have anyone that can give us 2 additional quotes? Because we wanted to send this out to, because we need 3 proposals. Does anyone know? And one we have. One. So do we have 2 other companies that we can reach out to get quotes on this? And this would be to fix the DPW roof and then install solar panels.
No, I'm sorry, I haven't looked carefully at the data, but we have a document that clearly describes all of the work that needs to be done.
I think so. Yeah, Ryan did send us documentation, I put it in the folder in the shared drive, so I can follow up, I can go.
What's the name of the company that's the current one?
Suncom.
And do they have anything to do with Sundog,
No,
who happens to be local?
No, we need other quotes.
So should we not include Sundog, or do they not do installation?
We don't know,
we don't know. I get the impression that they've gone dormant on solar. But I'll be happy to.
Do you know anyone that's,
I used to,
Yeah.
I could, oh, well,
So, okay, so there's requirement documents, which I think that's what Ryan might have sent to us, I don't know off the top of my head. I'll have to go look, and then if not, we can ask him for it.
Okay.
So I'm sure there has to be something for some comments to get quoted.
Well, Suncommon did work necessary to characterize the project, but whether somebody else can kind of
Okay,
look at it and say, oh, this is what we could do with the same data.
so do you want to reach out to Sundog? Do
they're
you have a-
still doing their thing according to their website.
Okay, well, I'll be happy to talk to them.
What about the companies that, Peter Pajano was in touch with on when the thought was possible panels at the landfill?
They do mainly big projects.
Bigger.
Vanessa had a contact, is Vanessa online? Yeah, no. But I don't know if anyone else know anyone else?
Lotus, they're closed, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. There's Castleman Solar in Manan,
Mhm.
and they seem to be still doing their thing,
Yes.
and solar generation,
All right, so
I'm
this is what
worried
we're
about
gonna do.
them.
I'm gonna reach out to, let's see what documents we have from Ryan again, I know he sent this something, I forget, like I said, and then I'll send it to Mike O'Hara, who will reach out to Sundog, do you want to reach out to Castleman?
Sure.
Okay, great, we're done. And we'll get our 2 quotes, great. Next item, okay, so we have tree grants, so we have multiple tree grants. Who wants to go first?
I can go first. So we called in the dig tickets, and Rob Perry has been super helpful, offering DPW yard to store trees during the process because everything is sort of spaced out across the city. It's a challenging installation. And he's also offered the contractor to borrow the new parking signs, which will help in installation because if a car or truck parks right in front of the tree pit, it's really difficult to access and plant this large
Right.
tree. So the dig tickets are in, all the dig tickets will be back by next Wednesday. I think it's the 10th, excuse me, so it's 2 Wednesdays maybe. And then after that, they should be cleared to cut concrete, which they believe will take maybe 3 to 4 days, and then plantings an additional like 3 to 4 days, pending an unforeseen problem, and weather, of course. So for the national grid, which is 9 trees, that's just a tree with mulch. But for the ecological restoration grant, it's 20 trees with underplanting, so they all have perennials. I've done a planting plan for every project site. And I have 4 backups for each place in case there's a conflict with the utilities through the dig. So if the dig tickets reveal, we've got like back pocket ones. And then I also still have the running list for the fall planting trees, which I believe we have in the budget. And on that list, there's currently 4 names. So there's spaces to still be filled, so we're still promoting that.
And how many total for that? Do you have space for?
I mean, it's like, it's based by the dollar amount, so we can divide up. Yeah, that kind of like lays into the pollinator,
Like several.
several trees, yes.
Okay, good. Okay, so, all right, because I think we might have gotten another one today, I think.
Another, okay, yeah, I'll look at the form, I can look it up.
All right, so anyway, thank you very much, Britt. So what is left? I mean, the trees still have to go in the ground, obviously.
Yeah, but you'll have them by spring, like by June, you'll have 29 new trees.
So great.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Thank you very much. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
It's a lot.
All the coordination, so thank you very much. That's great. Do you need any help between now and then?
No, like on Thursday, I'm meeting the contractor to mark out, because some of the spots don't have concrete, they're on grass, and we didn't let them out and it's gone, so I'm just gonna go and work on it quickly, but. No, we're fine. On day of planting, if people wanna come out, they can. The other really sweet thing is in the tree pruning that we did this spring with DPW, some of the larger limbs, they sliced into tree cookies for us. And so, and then Carl, Mr.
My name's Hillary.
Mr. Hillman.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, Mr. Hillman, drilled holes in the tree cookies so we can hang them off the trees and they'll be the new tag for, the tree species. So it's kind of a cool sustainable way of like, a dead limb became a tree cookie.
And when is the day of the planting? Do we know yet or no?
I don't, because it's like a little based off of the day tickets, but it's like sometime after the 10th.
End of June, right? So-
May.
Oh, okay. So we'll have the number for our next meeting.
Yeah, they'll be in the ground.
What species are they?
Okay, so I have a whole list off I could look it up right now, but, off memory, the ornamentals are crab apples, Himalayan ears, or service berries, there's some lilacs. And mostly like the problem is they're full sun, so it's very hard to find an ornamental tree that's native and full sun. I even asked my office today at work, it's like, who can name? And not one of them could come up with a native full sun ornamental. And then our shade trees are sweet gums, lindens, we've got a couple oaks. But there's very few spaces that actually got shade trees because everything has wires.
Hmm.
Just happen to be how it shook out.
Okay.
When there is a planning day, I wanna know, because I wanna take a lot of photographs.
Right.
Yeah, because it helps with the grants. Okay, so obviously, you're watching, I'm trying to open, it's not doing it. But I do have the list.
Yeah, just let us know when the planting day is. We'll send out an email. So email to everyone. That would be great.
Okay,
Next tree grant?
The DEC grant, the RFP went out a month ago, more than, and it was due back yesterday. Proposals, we got, one proposal back. There was, I talked with Michael about it. Michael extended the deadline to, next Monday.
Okay.
And we're getting, because we didn't have pre-quote. And so we'll be getting more, in. And, after that, after I guess it's decided what contractor to work with and the contract is drawn up, we need to have a meeting between DEC, the city, and the stakeholders, the people that have been, said they'd be partners, like the youth department, NCAC, and, anybody from City Hall who would like to attend. And get the ball rolling, just, make sure that we're all on the same page. Certainly DPW, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have, not to point at you, you're not DPW. But they definitely need to be involved because they're preparing the site.
Do you think there'll be any issue getting other votes in?
I don't think so. I think that we, that some people had addressed that they were interested in, they were, that.
Just forgot or didn't read the instructions fully.
I have 2 bids coming in that I was.
Okay, great. Okay,
Yeah.
so everything's moving forward,
Yeah, everything is moving forward.
so great.
And our contract with the state is executed, so that's all set. We'll just formalize the contract with the contract.
Great, thank you, thank you. That's great news. Once again, more trees. And then there was another grant that just came in this week. For, I guess, round 16, from the DEC for more trees. So, or, well, not necessarily trees, I should take that back.
Tree planting.
Right.
This is what Hillary emailed you like an hour before the meeting,
Oh,
or 2 hours.
True.
You might have checked
sorry.
that. Recent email.
But the DEC, okay, so anyway, so there's a grant opportunity for the DEC, but it's not just tree planting, it's multiple different types of green related projects.
It's one or the other, it's tree planting or tree maintenance.
Or tree planting or tree maintenance.
Yeah,
Okay, so what were some of the ideas that you had?
well, my idea was a parking lot, but Hillary had a better idea of maintenance.
So I have a different idea, because I totally agree that we would love to have a parking lot redone and have trees in it. The only problem with that one of the parking lots that was identified is actually county owned. And it would be, another entity to have involved, but moreover, that to do it properly, I think that one would have to totally regrade the parking lot, take out the asphalt, make it really a green parking lot. And so those kinds of grants are, I think, more infrastructure grants and there's a certain name for that part of DEC that deals with green infrastructure and things like water hydraulics in the city. I can't remember what department it is, maybe it's water.
Stormwater management.
Yeah, stormwater management. So anyway, I thought that would be a place to look for that kind of grant. But also for that kind of project, get the county on board, because it'll most certainly be a match grant. And why not have it come from county funds than city funds? That was one of the thoughts. And also, my other thought was that so far from DEC, we've gotten the inventory and management plan. We have gotten the tree planting plan. What's also offered in here is a tree maintenance plan. And even though DPW, Brit worked with DPW worked with Brit, and they're all best buds now. She's a coup. They dealt with trees that needed trimming, but not ones that needed to be removed completely. One, because it's a much bigger expense. Two, because it's dangerous. They're not tree fellers. And
DPW.
for DPW,
Yeah, like a perfect example would be there's a very large tree on 6 in Union. And it's probably like 12, 14-inch caliber, completely dead. It would take half a day for them to take it down. And so it's, really more the property owners.
So, okay, so you're thinking instead of the planting trees in the parking lot, to do a tree maintenance, to use this grant. for
do
tree
a
maintenance?
tree maintenance at this time, and go through the list in the inventory of all those that were highlighted red from Miguel that said this tree needs to be removed because of danger. And, it's in public space and it's dangerous. So I believe
How many?
I haven't counted recently, but I think it was like 23. It was a number. Yeah, don't quote me on that.
There's one who's dead on trees.
Some of the cemeteries.
Yeah, there's
No,
some-
but it's the actual inventory part where that'll actually show the numbers, and that's an Excel file. But it might be somewhere in there, the number. I remember that I wrote that number in as far as how many ash trees needed to be removed.
Okay, let's go back to the
Yeah.
grant then. So the grant, the one that we're talking about, it's round 16 DEC grant. So as opposed to redoing like a parking lot, which you say is probably a bigger project. than what the grant allows for? That we should use this grant for tree removal, or I don't know, talk to me.
They're different. So what Hillary's saying is that tree maintenance can't be covered under another bucket necessarily, but parking lot could be. So that's why she's saying, hey, parking lot's a great idea, but maybe you can get a different DEC grant for it, but we can only get tree maintenance from this DEC grant. And you can't apply for planting and you can't apply for both.
And
Right.
there's an apparent need for the maintenance.
I think there's a need for both, but yes, there's a
Well,
very big need
We
for
need to
maintenance.
choose.
Looks like 36 are critical concern
Oh.
duties, and then
Oh.
51 are immediate high risk.
Wow,
Plus another 325 that are routine moderate risk. The rest are low risk.
So is there someone at the DEC that we could ask, them, say, look, we saw this round 16 grant. We have a couple of ideas.
Yeah, we could talk to Tyler Levy, who's been our forester that has been helping us with the perf planting grant, so I'm sure we could reach out to him. I think Hillary has a strong relationship with him.
And ask.
I mean, you've emailed him so many times.
It,
We've had to use them. Yeah,
Michelle may be the better contact. actually.
yeah. That's fine.
Yeah.
They're really communicative and
Yeah.
helpful, they're
Yeah.
not a gatekeeper.
I mean, I think it's important, I mean, right, we ask the
I just,
questions, someone want to send an email,
Mhm.
and then. What do you think?
yeah, I just wanted to ask if Linda could put those numbers in the
Yeah.
minutes, that it's 51 trees that have immediate high risk and 36 trees of concern for public safety.
I'm sorry, can you say about 51, you said, 51?
51 for immediate and 36 for high risk public safety.
It looks like the 36 are concentrated in one general area. Primarily.
Yeah, it does.
The red
Yeah,
Where?
on Front Street.
Front Street.
so the idea is you apply for the grant and you would hire a firm to do the work rather than DPW, that makes
You'd
sense.
probably hire like an arborist.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
Save a Tree or Bartlett Tree experts, like one of those
Yeah.
companies could do all of that.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if those trees aren't covered by the.
The
tree
DRI.
guy.
Some of them are in the
So
Hudson
we can
Connect
take them
area.
down. but-
Yeah. But not all of them.
Some of them are, I'm sorry, are what?
Some of them are within the Hudson Connects project for the DRI, and so they're coming down
Okay.
as a part of that. But that's just the ones that are on Front Street, I imagine.
But if most of them
There's a
are
bunch
on
of
Front
ash.
Street,
yeah.
That's on Front Street,
Yeah.
that's significant.
Okay, so what's the next step, folks?
Well, I think that, depending on how people feel about this, that one of us should probably present the concept to the common council and see if the common council would be behind going for the grant.
Cause it's a match.
As well, see, that I haven't read that part of it. Yes, I
Well,
believe that. maintenance
I'm
is
sorry, have we
that.
decided what we're going for the grant for?
Oh, of course.
So, I mean, are we definitely going for the tree removal versus the parking lot? Or is that still TBD?
but we can't go for the parking lot because it's not within the purview of the grant.
Well,
It
not
is,
necess-
it is, oh, okay,
But it's not city property.
It's
right, that one, yeah, I understood that one, yeah.
That, I mean, so that would be the number one thing to find out from DEC, if, because it's county property within the city, would it be? So I think that's definitely a good question.
Okay, so then I think the next step is a conversation with the DEC, how's that sound?
Yeah.
All right, and then we can make a decision as to how to approach this grant, which of the projects.
You could also ask Rob Perry to have an opinion if he cares, if he would rather have maintenance or parking.
That's a good point, ask Rob Perry.
He'll have a,
And it'd be good to know how many of the trees are already going to be addressed within the DRI.
Sure.
Right, I mean, Rob Perry, the parking lot is county parking lot anyway, so I don't know which jurisdiction.
oh, right, fair.
So, okay, so let's talk to, okay, so we'll talk to Rob, I'll send an email out to Rob. Does anyone want to email the DEC or send me the contact
I can handle.
information? Yeah,
DEC contact.
can you, CC us on that? That would be great. And then the Front Street, who will know which trees on Front Street are being taken down by the revitalization program?
These ones look like they're part of that section because they're north of Warren Street.
Then,
We'll have to just cross-check
Yeah.
the list with the plans that we have currently.
okay, fine. So we'll do a cross check.
Is there like a timeline or status update for the complete streets?
We are going out, we had to reconfigure the bid because it just got way too out of budget for what we wanted to do. So the parts of it are being taken out completely, other parts are being reconfigured as options. And then we'll get it out to bid, hopefully.
That's us.
So I think the
Yeah.
tree maintenance is not being taken out and is not
No, it would not be because there's some
other things
base
that go on.
pit parts that have to happen
Yeah.
that require the trees.
And for someone who is newer to the CAC, do you mind giving me just a 20-second overview of what the DRI plans are specifically?
Yeah, so it is to improve streetscape connections to the waterfront. So the main element of it is improving sidewalks that are along Front Street to connect it better to Warren, and that would include a mixed use pathway. And it also will narrow the street to help calm traffic and put a raised table. Was the idea right from Promenade Hill Park so that there's better pedestrian access there. There are other additional improvements to other sidewalks in the general vicinity too that have been kind of moving in and out of the project scope.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Cool. All right, anything else, tree grants? Yes,
On that, DEC is having a briefing meeting on the 4th of May about round 16 grant. I plan to be on that call. It's a 2-hour thing, I believe.
is it anything initially?
It's
It's in the RFA,
it's in the RFA.
and there is a 25% match required.
That's right.
There's a 25% match
Um,
requirement for this.
So it's at 10 a.m. on the 4th. On May 4th. And I put it on my calendar to be 10. But also, Michael was gonna get some information by talking to Michelle and Gloria up there.
And I think are we all on that email, the around 16? Maybe not, maybe I forwarded it to everyone today.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, so it might be another. Okay, great. All right, cool. Anything else? Moving on.
I don't know about trees, are we moving on to projects for climate action?
Oh, good. Heat pumps, quick. Scope document has been submitted. I have not heard back from them yet. Although we've been passing out information regarding heat pumps at Earth Day, and it's a long process.
And the farmer's market.
At the farmer's market. So we need like 5 heat pumps installed, and then we get like $5,000 or something like that. But it's a process. So we still have to, I have to hear back from them. We have to put through a resolution on the common council. And we don't get the points until after the installation is done and checked off and done. So yeah, that's gonna be an ongoing process. But it's just a matter of they help keep track of who's doing the installation. We just have to do public information about it, so people know. That's about it. Okay, yeah, sorry, go, you're on.
Yeah, no, thank you. I just wanted to mention, and I know my colleague Matt has been in touch with a couple of folks. But Partners for Climate Action has provided the grants, the ERG grants, ecological restoration grants. We, as an organization, are shifting our focus a little bit and bringing all of our programs into 3 sort of grant funds essentially, and one of those is ecological restoration, which continues to include street trees and urban forestry, and we really want to ramp that up as our grant area, and have been having a lot of internal discussion, and we just presented to our board about creating sort of a bioregional urban forestry sort of initiative, and thinking about Hudson as a potential pilot site, if there's interest, and sort of continuing to support the street trees that are here and development. I know you.
I did-
Matt recently
Yeah, I
had
had a walk with Matt and Avalon to talk about this. Things in the works.
Things are in the works, and we just, so I wanted to just mention that, I don't have a lot to present on it yet, because it's still evolving on our side, but, I think we wanted as an organization to make sure that there is general support, from the CAC and also from the city, in terms of potentially developing a project here, and sort of, we can provide more information when we have that to discuss, but just wanted to raise that as something to think about.
I think that sounds like a great idea.
Yeah.
Urban tree canopy.
More amazing.
And taking the plans, the current plan, from 2022, this street tree plan, and Hudson, and sort of even scaling that up more, and thinking about, maybe we plant 1,000 trees, over 3 years, and sort of seeing what the potential is here. And we're regranters, so we raise funds to then regrant, so there's some of that will need to happen, but, just wanted to make sure that there was buy-in before we sort of go down that path to talk about.
And all the more
Partnerships.
reason that the grant has to go well, because we have to photograph it and charm them again with our next application.
Yes.
And don't need to charm me.
We're just a blind reader.
No, any objections? Any objections? All in favor? Aye. Yeah, just let us know what you need. Yeah.
Compelling.
You have our numbers. All right, so let's move on. All right, so I guess we've talked about that Arbor Day in the spring. That's gonna happen. The trees will be planted before the next meeting. Arbor Day in the fall, we still have some.
I tried, we had 4 people on the list, last one.
We have four, okay, so that's good. We could probably, did we get any from birthday?
No. You didn't.
I'm gonna skip around a little bit on this agenda here. The, hold on, but we had the letter of support, the CDRPC EPA climate letter of support. Thank you very much, Michael Hoffman, for submitting that. That's great. What else? Okay, fine. So now, bing. Where am I? All right, we had another idea for a pollinator garden for the cemetery entrance. So the cemetery entrance right now, I don't know if any of you are aware, but it's a little triangle, maybe 800 square feet,
Maybe.
maybe around there.
Seems like it.
Currently there are planters, 3 planters
And
at the entrance. But we're thinking about, the idea is to use some of the CAC money in the budget to make a little pollinator garden for the entrance to the cemetery. And then use the rest for the trees, because we have 4 trees, we can still plant trees and we can still have the pollinator garden. So, questions, comments, ideas?
Great.
When do we start?
I made a plant list. We're getting it budgeted out, so we'll see what percentage would be part of the budget of the 15 grand.
Right.
But we're hoping it's, around 7,000. And then Rich has been in contact with the long-term maintenance and care, which is of course the next question everyone says is, how are you gonna do maintenance pollinator garden? Who's gonna take care of it? And so we're speaking with the conservancy.
Right, and so there's a group of friends of the Hudson City Cemetery, who I'm sure would help. We could make it a yearly thing to go and help maintain, look, right, that would be a great idea, right, Tom? What? How can we do some weeding? And,
And also we're picking low maintenance native.
perennials, all
Yeah,
perennials,
Come back, yeah.
yes. So we just do some weeding every year, and, yes.
Is there water source nearby?
There's spigots pretty much,
There's
there's
spigots everywhere.
everywhere in
Yeah.
the cemetery.
Oh, that's right. That, I forgot.
Maybe not right at that entrance, but
Right.
there's a,
There's water.
yeah,
And
yeah.
then, yeah, they have plants there, as the planters, there must be something nearby.
I mean, I don't know how close the nearest spigot is. I've been doing a lot of walking around in that cemetery, so I'm guessing it's up near the house. But
There's
there
spigots
might be
everywhere.
something a little closer to
But
the
I
entrance,
forgot
yeah.
about
There might even be
spigots.
one right at the
Yeah,
entrance.
they are kind of like sporadically
Yeah.
throughout the cemetery.
Yeah,
Yeah, we have one.
and if not, there's probably a hose extension option somewhere.
Just thinking for the first season, it might need,
Additional water, and there are people who help maintain who voluntarily maintain the tombstones as well, so we can probably ask people to help maintain a garden too. It'd be a good event. Okay, so there's
Can
that.
I ask a question?
Yes,
And I may have mentioned this last time, I don't recall, but is there an appetite to take it even further and create a pollinator friendly resolution for the city?
that's where we're going.
Is that what happening? This is the pilot.
One thing at a time.
Okay, I just wanted to touch that, I just wanted to
Yeah,
check.
one thing at a time, we get there. But yes, we're gonna show people that having a great little pollinator area, entrance to the cemetery would be great. Because right now, I don't know if anyone's walked through the cemetery, but it's a lot of lawn that's mowed on a very regular basis.
Very,
So, and I look at that every day. and
I do too. Well,
Wouldn't it be
such a lost opportunity.
for pollinators?
And are there spraying implications in the cemetery? Is it maintained with?
I don't think it's- they don't spray, they don't spray. And weed whack,
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's a lot of maintenance, the
They
cemetery is a
maintain it
lot of
very
maintenance.
yeah.
Right, so a low rise pollinator garden, there's a lot of room, I think, that it could spread.
Okay, we could consider some no spray policies later on for the other parks.
I really don't think they, I don't think they spray in that cemetery. I'm
Not in the
sure
cemetery,
recently
but
in
in
the
like
park.
the Seventh Street Park.
I don't think DPW does
I don't
pesticide
either.
application.
I've never seen-
Never seen that.
You need a pesticide application license to do it, so I don't think any spray.
Yeah.
I think there's, yeah, I don't think so.
I just assumed in the Seventh Street Park because of the strip of,
The hell strip of no growth.
that's around every.
That is because the Norway maples are allelopathic, which means they emit a toxin on their root system that kills what grows underneath it.
so they're at
Okay.
it 24/7.
There you
But
go.
it doesn't think it's longer.
Learn something new every season.
Every,
That could
Minute
be
of
just
every
because
day.
of like
Foot traffic.
foot traffic and
Okay.
dog pee.
Yeah, I agree, but very positive.
Your ilk.
I have to admit, I have no update on the tree ordinance. I know several of you have looked at documents that are there. I need to put that together and combine it because I hear almost every week about someone who's thinking about chopping down another tree. I need to put this forward, so my apologies on that. And
it's
then
still online, right, for us to go.
it's all
look at.
there.
It's all there,
If
yeah.
you do a search on, I can redistribute everything too, but yeah, the idea is really just to look through what's there, like Saugerties and Rhinebeck, and just like pick the best of what's out there, make comments onto it. Vanessa's done it, Josh has done it, and Britt and Heather put the documents there, so
Sorry.
go ahead.
And someone just brought to my attention today that Cold Spring has a really great tree commission and language that we might want to look at too.
Someone told me this week that there's a weeping willow that someone's thinking in their backyard that they're gonna chop down, and we gotta pass this tree
Oh,
ordinance.
God, they grow so slowly. And they drink up so much water. I mean, they really do a job. They do.
We'll plant more. We have to.
All right, more trees. Okay, so get that out of the way, going back then to Josh, CCA Community Choice Aggregation.
Yes, so I know we talked very briefly about this last time, and thank you, Michael, for sending some of the materials. I think some of you were on this council last year when Jeff Demansky presented about what we should consider as a city, and sent around some of those same materials, just in case people hadn't seen them. I hadn't seen them previously. But I would love for us to move this to the council to discuss, to then move on to the legal committee. It seemed like the next step was for us to all agree that this is something we want to recommend,
Other way around,
other way around,
legal committee first.
I'll legal first, yeah.
not to the, so it doesn't need to come to the council at all first, okay.
It goes through committee, that's the council.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's the first step then for us to just agree that we want to present to the legal committee, is that, and then we have some draft language already for,
Do you have the documents? Did you circulate them already?
I did. I can recirculate. But
I feel like I don't get all my, I feel like I don't get it all.
they are also in the folders too. I added a new folder called
Alright.
community choice segregation. a couple days ago.
And what group are we talking about joining?
Well, I think isn't that, I assumed we'd have to put an RFP out for an
Well,
administrator.
My understanding is that we don't have enough population to really be worth standing alone in the CCA context. And what most other communities of our size have done is affiliate with other communities to add up to a critical mass that makes it worthwhile to have an administrator. A city with 1,600 households is not quite there. So for example, we could join in with Jack Demansky's suggestion, which was kind of a
For the south.
Ulster Duchess Confederation, or conceivably, we could also associate with the Albany-based system.
There's
Either
Green
way,
County folks, I think.
right, what's required is just that we are in the same utilities. And since we're in National Grid territory, that would then determine who our affiliates are. And Albany is in National Grid territory, just for example.
So we need to, so we would need to.
So that would be
which-
the next step,
first
is
step
to
is-
say, yes, we want to do this. And then to connect with the pre-existing affiliations, the associations, to see where we might best plug in and become part of that system.
So there's the Hudson Valley group, there's the Albany group, is there a third group?
Not that I'm familiar with, it would also be in National Grid territory. That's,
Okay, yeah.
there may be, but those are the two that I'm familiar with.
So what, I'm sorry, okay, so what would that mean, that we plug in with that? That we just say what?
Well, we come under the same administrators
Jewel for the southern.
purview. that We would all of our aggregated usage or demand for the electricity would be added into the larger bucket,
Right,
which then becomes part of what they would do as the administrators when they're negotiating for longer term agreements on the price per kilowatt hour.
and that would be all residents unless they opt out.
That's the general game plan, and small businesses can be part of it.
And it's usually cheaper than that, and it doesn't fluctuate, obviously.
Within the city of Hudson.
Right.
And the Albany group also does the sourcing via renewable resources.
It has a board, and there's already 13 municipalities that are joined in with Albany. I'm just looking at the website right now.
Thank you. That's
So
the
there's a
update.
community choice aggregation board that helps to set the rates. And they're normally pegged to National Grid's wholesale rate.
Right, but what are they, are they specifically using,
Well,
renewable resources for the energy, or? I guess,
I'm pretty
I
sure they're not.
believe so.
okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
That was my understanding.
Right,
But
yeah,
that's also the basis by which a community might choose to which administrator to go with.
Mhm.
So,
Do you know if another municipality joins this collective, either one, that there needs to be a renegotiation with the utilities, or do you think we would just take
That's
their
a-
rate? We would just
I think
join.
we're gonna plug in at their rate.
So
But
should we
the
compare
other,
both rates?
there are other requirements that I think you might be familiar with, that we have to do a public education outreach to tell people what's going on and have 3 public hearings about it. So that, you know, everybody's not gonna get surprised when they get that letter in mail that says, okay, you're now under this program.
You have the option to opt out,
Precisely, but that's what they call it. It's an opt-out.
and that's an individual choice.
Correct.
Munster municipalities signed
Right,
up.
I mean, you might have what you think is a better deal
Yeah,
with some other outfit, and that's fine.
and actually you're joining the city of Albany and the 13 other municipalities within this,
Correct,
if you call it, you might call it a watershed.
correct, yes,
Work with a third party called the Municipal Electric and Gas Alliance, MEGA.
right, yeah.
Which is
They're
another
right, and that is itself a cooperative,
Yes,
which is owned by all of the members.
and that's 21
municipalities.
municipalities.
Correct.
And so we're talking about electricity and natural gas.
I believe.
No.
Yes, well, it says Electric and Gas Alliance.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, well, then there you go,
Yeah.
that's new to me, but that's fine.
so what's the next step?
That's interesting.
Is it to check the rates of?
Is there anyone to talk to who's been through this already, maybe? Like, is there someone in Kingston who's gone through this, or Albany?
Well, yeah, I mean, Jeff Demansky is one person that we could talk to, and then there's people in Albany that I know that would be happy to do some preliminary consulting and coaching with us.
I mean, maybe we can get, have a conversation with someone for the next meeting.
Sure.
What do you, how does everyone, what does everyone think?
You mean like have them
For outreach.
call into the meeting and do a little mini, 10-15 minute overview?
This way we can ask questions.
Yeah.
Like, so when Jeff presented I know it didn't progress, but, and it seemed like there wasn't opposition back then, but was there not a reason that it didn't progress? Or is he the right person to invite that?
It was right at the same time that the county was starting a program. And so it was sort of an either or, I think, and I think that most people thought supporting the county program would be, you know, keeping it local. But nobody, I don't think anybody had anything against.
No, no, it was
this
just
program.
a confusion of possible alternatives, and one of them was already in our laps and negotiated by the county. And the other one was a prospect of something that could be even better, but it was still a prospect. So now I think we can be ready to learn more about what our options are here and to take the next steps.
You know, that might be the meeting that we want to invite a couple of people from the legal committee to attend that meeting and see that presentation. That way they also know if this is gonna be on their table. They've got a heads up, they've already gotten.
And even if they get their own presentation, they'll hear it twice and that'll be better.
So may I suggest, because looking at this, we wouldn't necessarily need to join forces with Albany. It looks like you can work directly with MEGA.
Yes, you may, with the.
Because they're the ones who
their
really
administrator.
set it I think they're the ones who set the rates anyway.
Well, they are the administrators who work that out, but the point that I made earlier about critical mass is still to be discussed with MEGA. MEGA has other programs where you can just get a connection for the municipal electricity consumption itself, not the population, but just the city-owned properties. But certainly things may have changed since I last spoke to them, and it may,
I'm willing to do a little research on this. if you
that's
want.
wonderful,
Okay,
please do.
I'll find out.
I'll
Unless
be
somebody
happy-
else is already doing it, I'll do it.
Maybe the
Okay.
two of
Happy
you-
to tag team,
Okay,
the two of you work together on this.
but it sounds like we want to invite someone to come and present at the next.
Or we could just have a separate meeting,
Okay,
maybe a separate meeting, because that would give it more time.
Right.
that'd be great.
And then, yeah, set up a separate meeting and then we could just, yeah, I mean, invite legal committee members as well.
Would it be helpful to invite Jeff back as one of the speakers? Does that feel useful or someone new? Or I didn't hear him. I know Jeff, but I didn't hear him present.
Couldn't hurt.
fine.
That's up to you. I'll leave it in your, the three of you, the new subcommittee, CCA subcommittee.
Okay, and then.
Okay, cool.
That sounds.
All
That's
right,
great.
so yes, you are the three of you are on the CCA.
The CACCCA.
There you go. Yeah, maybe, I think, you know, what, this way we'll give it more time, so we'll set aside, you know, 5 minutes, an
Yeah,
hour or
rather
something,
than this
a
20
Zoom
second.
meeting. And just let us know when,
Okay,
and we'll invite the legal committee members as well.
that'd be great. And we can.
Okay.
There's a group called the Mid Hudson Energy Transition. And Marcy Cleveland, is someone I know there who's, and I think they work with communities to help them transition into CCA, so. Agreements, so I can check in with them, if they offer to.
Okay, great. All right, so cool. Just some announcement, the Oakdale rewilding project, I know that has been switched from April 29th to May 6th.
That's this weekend.
You can say it.
This
This Saturday.
Oh, this is Saturday, yes, thank you. Planting for Nature was a event that's happening May 15th. That was an email that was sent out, which is happening at Columbia Green, actually. 1,000 Cities Campaign Climate Action.
Yeah, so we're internally circulating the RFP draft for the comprehensive / climate action plan. And once that is done, it will come to you guys to get some input from the CAC on specific environment and sustainability goals within the RFP, and then we'll polish it out and have a press release and announcement.
Okay, great. Thank you. Before that was what I read, just an update. That's close to my announcement. But anyway, sorry, that's me. And there's another email that I just circulated yesterday or today. And NYSACC conference in Ithaca in September, which is related to climate. Something.
Are we a NISAC member?
Are we, I don't know,
Yes.
If we pay our dues,
is it yearly dues?
Yes.
their yearly dues,
I don't
yeah.
know. I don't know. Well, we got the email.
Well, then you'll be getting an email that says, you need to pay your dues. We put it in the budget.
We'll put it in the budget. Okay, that's fair enough. Okay, so anyway, the email went out. I forwarded it today if you haven't received it. Earth Day tabling, how'd it go?
I thought it went well. It was a good number of people were interested in finding out more about heat pumps and took the literature and a couple of people let me know that they would like to have trees, and I have those addresses and phone numbers. And in general, we told them, we talked to a lot of people about what the CAC does and about what it doesn't do, and you know, things like that.
That's great.
It was good. It was good to be there.
Thank you to Hillary and Nathan who staffed the table. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
I could dance around. It was cold.
It was cool. Any other updates? Climate Smart, Nathan is not with us. City streetlights project?
So we're waiting on a contract of sale with National Grid to purchase the streetlights. That is in progress. I have had communication from them. The other element is the design for the replacement project with New York Power Authority. And that we just have more that we have to fill out, and we'll get that done this week after a final look over the document. It's I think a 200-page design plan, which is like pretty overwhelming, but we're pretty confident that it will be fine.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I have no other updates, but anyone else have any other updates?
I don't have an update. I have a topic that I wanted to bring up.
Yes,
I'm wondering if the city has considered, that as, vehicles age out, replacing them with EVs. And,
Every time I propose it, I'm told how much it costs. And everybody backs down.
how much does it cost?
Well, in case where the police, for example, it's about a $30,000 difference, I recall.
For an electric vehicle.
Not anymore.
Yes, yeah, we're
Then-
talking about police vehicles, you're not like an average. Not a
Right.
typical vehicle,
Oh,
Right.
but, yeah,
And what about things like, code enforcement vehicles,
right.
things,
Yeah, well, we're still buying, a lot of them are still buying used, so,
which is good.
yeah, so
But
there's not
EV
much,
out there.
EV on the used market, but it's definitely,
Okay,
Where we-
it's something that
Oh,
comes
yeah.
up every time a vehicle
Yes.
is needed.
yes.
So that's good, that's good. I'm just, I think the market's gonna change quite a bit in the next couple of years, and so it'll start making more and more sense.
Maintenance is cheaper.
You know, I just,
It is, that's a good point.
Yeah.
it's the maintenance,
electric gas is
I
a
think,
lot
well,
cheaper.
there's, yeah.
yeah.
So I expect these guys.
Well, no,
Not yet.
that's understandable that dump trucks probably can, and
Not yet.
fire trucks.
Not yet.
That's coming. I mean, there are
So-
municipalities that have gone electric with their garbage trucks and so forth. Yeah, I mean, it's an ideal application. Here's a truck that has a fixed route, always goes back to the
Yeah.
depot,
Yeah,
you know, especially in such a small city as ours. But it's still early days for heavy vehicles.
There was the electric charger grant, speaking of which, that was circulated, that I think I forwarded, we got. I don't know, I mean, that's like, I didn't really get too far into it, but it said like the floor was like $500,000, so I don't know if that's just for. I don't know, if that's just for us, if that's too much for us, I don't know what that grant was.
That may be outside of our capability as like a city infrastructure to have. That many may actually be too much.
Yeah, it was saying that the base with the starting was 500 grand, so I don't know if.
For a larger city.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, right, I think it's like beyond us, that's my first guess, but I'll go back and look at that on the agenda.
But we should be thinking about it, because
Oh, yeah.
years, you won't be able to buy a gas car any longer. in New York. So if we don't have infrastructure to charge,
It's true.
I mean, there will be some incentives from the feds that are coming down as well.
Yes, significant.
And that's one thing about it, if we're gonna think about redoing a parking lot to change the permeable pavers and to put in chargers and have lighting that is sedate and LED and, you know, all that kind of, it should be a thorough design that is.
Right,
Right.
okay,
can I bring up a quick thing and other issues? Oh, we had other issues.
other issues, yes, go.
I just want to do a quick plug for something I had never heard of until recently called No Mow May. I want to say that all the time, because I love saying No Mow May. Yeah, so we're not gonna mow our lawn for the month of May. It'll be really interesting to see what happens to our lawn. And I just wanted to plug it. I'm actually gonna print up some signs and just volunteer, just go and unilaterally just hang them up around town.
Right, I
Okay.
mean, one gas mower, I'm sorry, one gas mower is about, it's like 10 cars.
Right.
Indeed. And it's also to encourage native plant and pollinators in your backyard. And of course, you can mow in June, since it's no mow May, but I guess the idea is to continue to sort of tend your natural garden.
So, in addition to other announcements, there's a climate action film festival at Basilica on Friday night at 7.
Is it it's at Hudson Hall, isn't it? It's
Oh,
hosted by-
Hudson
it's
Hall,
hosted
you're
by
correct.
Basilica.
I mean, it's sponsored by
Yeah.
them, but it's actually, you're correct. At Hudson Hall.
That's this Friday.
Yep.
Wow, all right.
I just got tickets for myself and my daughter to join us. 7 to 9,
Yes.
put on by Sun Common also.
Hmm.
All right, anything else? Any other announcements? Everyone good?
Well, I actually had a question about Nomo May.
Oh,
Yeah,
Nomo May.
because I know Rhinebeck, there's been a push there to also have Nomo May. But there's also a citywide ordinance that requires that you mow your grass in Rhinebeck, and I'm curious if
Wow.
Hudson has any such.
Yes.
Yeah,
Really?
I'm pretty sure we do. I don't check.
Well, it's not that you would have to mow it.
No, it's a certain
It's that
size.
you have to keep it,
Right.
sort of neat.
Your backyard lawn.
Probably
Probably
just the visible part. I think. No, that's right.
Okay.
On the flip side, if there's something, the municipalities that have outlawed the hedges too.
There are.
Good idea.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So do we know that there is this, a law around
We
this?
have,
Well,
yes, yeah.
We
There
do,
is something. I
just
can't-
some, but not necessarily seriously,
You could look it up.
unless it's really out of control.
It's
Okay.
it's an email to code enforcement if you want.
Yeah.
It's in the code, just look at lawns.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you just look it up too. Fair enough.
It shall be unlawful for such person to permit any accumulation of dead weeds, grass or brush. Poison ivy, ragweed or other poisonous plants.
No,
detrimental to health.
all sorts of other things. but
Yeah,
as
but
high as
just
what?
not poisonous, and-
Just so they're not dead.
and they're not,
Poison ivy.
yeah. Okay,
And then I,
I don't see a height on this section.
that's cool. We've been a progressive
No
city all
poison
these
ivy.
years.
all right,
I'll go along with that.
motion to adjourn, we've done, oh, one more question, oh, this is motion to adjourn, yes,
Seconding the
here we go.
motion.
Second.
Second. Third.
second.
There we go. Turn. Thank you all. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
The beginning.
Rich, you're 1 hour.